Hello, you guys. I'm Rick Dancer. Welcome to Get Real with Rick Dancer on this Monday night, February 13th. Um, Especially gentlemen, I know we live in a sexist world or a non sexist world. I don't know how you call that. But usually it's the gentlemen, I think, that do a lot of the Valentine's stuff. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day. If you have not done your duty and gotten the flowers or that, you better get on it because I know the florist here in Townsend, Montana, is pretty darn busy. And at least stop by and get a card for your your partner, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever it is. And I guess women, you do that for the men too, as well. And I guess for other people, they do it the same thing for their partner. So it's all good. We are going to have some fun tonight. Have a good show for you. Um, our sponsors are three people. One is Chris Daniel Family Dentistry and Denture Center out of Eugene, Oregon. Dr. Bratlin's been with us a long time. If you're looking for a dentist who cares about your oral health, also cares about your freedom, he's the guy for you. He is very active in the community. He's outspoken, and he really knows how to take care of your teeth with crowns, hygienists of the highest quality. And he does all kinds of, they now have a denture center as well there. Now, if you're here in Montana, our new client is the Montana Oral Surgery and Dental Implant Center. I was looking on their website. They have three locations, one in Helena, one in Great Falls, and one in Bozeman. They do dental implants, wisdom teeth pulling, 3D imaging, bone grafting, facial trauma work, anesthesia, the whole bit. If you're looking for an oral surgeon, and I realize that's not something that a lot of people are just out looking for, but when you need one, you'll be able to go to their website, and we're going to be doing some interviews with the different staff members, and you can find out where it is you're going, because it's kind of nice to know who the people are that are going to be working on you. So we're happy to have them on board. And also, we have another new client, Fairway Independent Mortgage Company. Greg Hinkle is a friend of mine. He does mortgages from Oregon to Washington to here in Montana, licensed in all three. Born in Roseburg. He lived in Washington State for a little bit. In January of 22, he moved to Helena, Montana, and opened up the Fairway Independent Mortgage Company. He's going to help create a generation of wealth through financing and through real estate. He's a good guy, supports what we do, loves freedom of speech, and loves you being able to have your free speech as well. So those are our three sponsors for the show tonight. So here's what we're going to do. Kathy and I, last week, I think it was last week, we had a show where we interviewed Pam with the Ride to the Sky dog sled race. This has been going on for decades. It is one of the kind of a precursor, a qualifier for the Iditarod. So and a lot of what people do is they'll do three of them. And in fact, Eagle Cap, which Kathy and I have also covered before, happens over in Joseph. And that was, I think, last weekend or the weekend before. And a lot of these people had gone to that as well. And then they come here. Some of the people we're going to talk to that are really experienced at this, they use this like as a training session because it's a 100-mile race and a 350-mile race. I think it's 350. And so some of the sledders, the mushers as they call them, were just coming in just moments ago. Take them that three days to get through this, and they have supplies on the way. It was interesting. I had somebody see a picture or some video I put up on Instagram of the dogs. They put these little slippers on their feet to keep them from getting, chapped up with all the ice and everything like that. And somebody came on my page and says, "Oh, those dogs don't look like they're having fun. They don't look like these dogs are having a ball. This is why they're bred. This is what they live for." And so, yeah, they're barking and screaming because they're excited. They want to go. And so this happened in Lincoln, Montana. So what we're going to do tonight, I'm going to show you a little video I just put together today. It's about 6 minutes. We'll kind of give you a feel for that. And then we went to this other really cool thing that Kathy found. It's the Blackfoot Pathway Sculpture in the Wild. This is the coolest thing, but I'll come back and tell you more about that after the dog sled story. And it's kind of gonna be like visiting Montana, Rick Dancer style, the old style, the way we used to do it. So let's take you to Lincoln, Montana, which is actually about 2 hours from where I live, up north of Helena, up in the mountains. Here you go.
The first road crossing is right on top there. And
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Where are you from?
Seeley Lake.
Oh, we were just there.
Yeah.
So how long ago did you start?
Mushing? I have been mushing for 31 years. So, yeah, I ran this race the very first time when I was 17, when it was a 500-mile race. So, long time ago, 94, I believe. So, why what?
Why mushing?
Why mushing? Well, what better way to see the countryside? I mean, I get to be out in the backcountry away from people with, well, in this race, 12, and Iditarod 14 to 16 of my best canine friends out on the trail, and it's quiet and no man-made sounds, and I mean, it's pretty magical out there. So I think there's no better way to travel.
How many times have you done the Iditarod then?
19. This will be my 20th Iditarod coming up.
So is that scary though?
No, I love the challenge. So it's every year is different. I've run 19 Iditarods. I've seen 40 above in rain. I've seen 62 below. I've seen wind chills of 70 and 80 below. I've seen deep snow to no snow and tundra and ice and rock. And I mean, every year is a challenge, which is why I run it. We've in storms and winds and whiteout conditions. And I mean, you definitely have to know what you're doing. You have to be prepared and be able to take care of your dogs, because if you can't take care of yourself and your dogs, you're in the wrong race, because you're out there in the middle of Alaska. Help can't get there within just an hour or two, So if you really need help, chances are help's not going to get there when you need it. So you need to be able to take care of yourself.
You the old man musher?
Yeah, I guess so.
How long you been doing this?
Just about 20 years now, I guess.
What is it? What is it about it?
I don't know what it is. It just changed my mind. I don't have to think. My mind went to mush. I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good stuff.
What's the hardest thing about it?
Getting to the starting line,
Really?
preparing, having everything in line, having the dogs in good shape, myself in shape.
So what is the relationship between you and those dogs?
They're my family, my kids. I raised them from puppies. My litter, or my team, is all one litter. They're all brothers and sisters.
Well, these races are Iditarod qualifiers, but once you finish the Iditarod, you're qualified for life. So I haven't had to re-qualify for Iditarod for 20 years, right? But so someone who wants to run the Iditarod for the first time can run this race, and there's others around that they can use as qualifiers to run the Iditarod. So for me, these shorter races, like the 300-mile races, they are stepping stones. They're training for me to get my team ready for the 1,000-mile Iditarod.
So what are the little boots for?
These boots are to protect their feet when we're out on the trail. So sometimes the snow can be icy and punchy, and that'll cut up our dogs' pads and the inside of their foot. So we put booties on them, just like our shoes, just to protect our feet. It's only my third ever race, so it's going to be a lot of fun to get out there and see the trail, see new parts I haven't seen in a while, and just have a lot of fun.
Why do you do it?
I do it because my dogs enjoy it. These dogs are born to be sled dogs. They love what they do. They love to run. They love to pull. And seeing their joy out there brings me joy. You're a little crazy if you want to get behind a sled for 100 to 1,000 miles. So, I mean, it's definitely a lot for the dogs and a little for us. The sleep deprivation isn't that fun.
So who's crazier, the dogs or the musher?
Oh, the human for sure. The musher. Yeah. You have to be absolutely nuts to put yourself through this, because we fall out there, we go through sleep deprivation. I've hallucinated on the trail, I've hallucinated the leprechaun. So it's definitely a lot harder on the musher, because we're standing behind making sure our dogs are safe, and our dogs are just having a good old time running, doing what they love.
You know, for training for Iditarod, we're basically doing like an equal run, equal rest. So if it takes me 5 hours to get to a checkpoint, you know, I'm going to rest 4.5, 5 hours there. And Iditarod, I probably run 6 to 8 hours, rest 4, run 6 to 8 hours, rest 4. So I do a little bit more of aggressive competitive schedule there. But here, this is just training. So we're just out having fun. We just want to get the dogs around the course and have a great time. And so we're probably going to do more equal run, equal rest.
So what is it about your dogs?
You know, I've been raising dogs for 31 years, and I have raised 7 generations of dogs in my career. So not only have I raised all the dogs on my team from puppies, I have raised all their parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents. So I have raised 7 generations. And so this is not my job. This is my life. My whole life revolves around these dogs. And so it's definitely a lifestyle. It's not something that I just go to work and do and then go home and have another, you know, home life. These dogs are everything.
So when you're out there by yourself and it's just you and the dogs, what are you thinking about?
Sometimes you're not thinking much of anything. You're just enjoying the dogs and enjoying the beautiful scenery and enjoying being out on the trail. And, you know, the further away from people and the more remote, the more I like it. I just like that remote lifestyle. So I'm on a dog team all winter. I'm on horseback and mule all summer. And I just spend my whole life in the mountains. As remote as possible, I love it.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So what is it about Montana?
Well, I grew up in Montana, so I grew up not too far from here on a cattle ranch. I've lived in Alaska for a lot of years as well, so I love both states. Both states are just, I love the mountains. I love being able to get away from the towns. I love, you know, just, like I said, getting in the backcountry. And there's some pretty awesome backcountry here.
And that is Race to the Sky. My Chiron thing didn't work on theirs. The gentleman in the story, that's Shane Pearson. He's 57 years old, and he's from a place called Fairfield, Montana. I'll have to go back and fix that. I don't know what happened. Technical issues sometimes haunt me. But as you can see, they had fun, had it packed. Kathy and I got there early. And then we decided to stick around, and I'm glad we did. I think the whole town was there. There was cars parked up and down the road. The parking lot was full, and then down the freeway as well. So it's a super beautiful event, really fun. And I would love to go sometime and get on one of those sleds and just get a little video for you to see what that's all about. So we stayed in Lincoln, Montana, little tiny town. I don't even know how many people are there. I should have looked it up, but we did before we left. Very small, but they had 3 little bars. We went into each of the local bars to have a beer, to kind of experience the community. That's what Kathy and I do. You know, when you go on a trip, don't just look for the fancy schmancy place. You know, we always try to find like a dive bar or a local bar. We'll find people outside the bar and say, hey, is this like where the locals hang out? And they'll tell you. And then you just go in and kind of experience the community for what it is. And they had 2 little bars like that. So Kathy and I went in each one and had a beer. Then we went across the street to, they have a steakhouse, met the lady, got her story, she and her husband own the steakhouse there in town. And she told us their life story. And we walked away going, wow. People have the most interesting lives and how they end up in these little tiny towns in Montana, just like Kathy and me. And I think that's what people in Montana, maybe that's what we all have in common, is we're either adventurers / drifters / nomads, coming from other places. Because a lot of people in Montana are not from Montana. They came here on purpose. We come here because we're looking for what Jesse's looking for. A little less people, fewer people, fewer cars, fewer traffic jams, and just kind of an old-fashioned way of life. And you find that here a lot. So while we were there, Kathy's looked this up before because it's very famous. It's the Blackfoot Pathways sculpture in the wild. So what it is you're going to see this real briefly, a picture. But that's one of the old wigwams is what I used to call them. They called them something different. But the old wigwams, they used to, back in the day, when you got the lumber or you got the logs cut, they take the bark and all the scraps, put them in that wigwam and burn them. And they had the shield on the outside so that the sparks didn't go out and start fires. Well, now modern day lumber mills, they use everything. I'm going to be showing you some of this in the future as we tour some lumber mills around here. They can take a log and with a computer tell you how many 2x6s, how many 2x4s they can get out of that log. And then everything that's not used in the 2x4 or 2x6 or whatever it is they're making, all that is used in something as well. So nothing goes to waste in a mill anymore. But back in the day, we didn't know any better. And so this wigwam, this artist took this and made it into a room you can go into and look at the logging history of Montana. But then there's a whole bunch of other ones. Like there's a pathway that you walk around. And there's numerous artists, well-known artists, have been commissioned, I guess, to create this artwork. And they're all through the place. So we had snow, like a foot of snow. So Kathy and I were traipsing through here. And I want you to see, so most of the stuff, there is some metal in it, but most of it's made of organic material, wood, newspaper, vines, and stuff like that. But check this out. This is cool. Isn't that cool? Oh my gosh. I'm going to take these off because I don't have to hear any more sound anymore. That is one of the coolest things. And I wasn't expecting it to be what it was. And what's really cool is all those sculptures are in and amongst a bunch of ponderosa pine. So you really have to, especially in the snow, you really have to look for them. And all of a sudden you'll think, God, is that something? And it'll be standing up there. And, so you can walk around it, and some of them, you can see, you could go in them, and then all of them have little plaques, and they kind of tell you what the artist was thinking and what they were, the whole reason they were doing this. So it is well worth stopping when you're in Lincoln, Montana. And it's just right off the side of the road by the Forest Service. There's signs that point you in the right direction. We didn't get to go see the biggest grizzly bear. That was across the street. We forgot. And so, and it's not alive. It's not a living. There's also a really cool little furrier in Lincoln where you can go and buy. I mean, it's expensive, but they have some beautiful silver fox. And in Montana, fur is still a thing. I know out there in Oregon, it's kind of illegal, and people's, well, not really illegal, but in people's mind, it's illegal. Montana, it gets cold enough that you can wear it, so you need it. So I want to kind of explain some other things going on here. Uh, so what we're changing the way we're doing our programming, thanks to Facebook and its ridiculousness. So I'm going to tell you the story because it's got an update on it, just so you have it. So about a week ago, I posted a picture of a guy in a Speedo holding balloons flying over Montana. And it was supposed to be like a joke, like, oh yeah, here they are going over Montana. Well, Facebook didn't think it was funny. And a lot of you got caught with it too. So they shut down my page for a day. And then they took away my ability allegedly to advertise, but actually I'm still doing it. And so that didn't, because they'll still take my money because we advertise for our customers and stuff. And then they wouldn't, so they wouldn't let me on for a day, and I can't do lives for 27 days. So that's kind of a pain because now we're doing it on YouTube. So what we're doing is we're doing all of our lives now on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, my website, rickdancer.com. So if you go to rickdancer.com and just hit subscribe, and it'll let you know when we go live. Go to YouTube, hit Rick Dancer TV only, just Rick Dancer TV. There's ones that have all kinds of names. They're fake accounts with numbers and all that. It's just Rick Dancer TV. Go there, subscribe, and then hit the little bell, and it'll notify you every time we go live. What we're going to do is we'll still be doing live eventually back on Facebook again, but with our more controversial shows, or the shows that I think that they may be over touchy about, I'm going to do those on our main channels, and then we'll just share short little pieces on Facebook because they're just not reliable. So here's what happened next. This is why they're just terrible people to deal with. So on Saturday morning, I get up and there's a notification again that I have posted the picture of the balloon guy. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, I wasn't up at 4 in the morning. I couldn't have posted it. I didn't, and it wasn't on my page, but they flagged me for it. And now they say I can't go on for 57 days. I can't go live. Well, it's like, what? Oh, and to part of this whole thing, they called the picture sexually exploitive. There's nothing sexually exploitive. The other day I was on my feed going through, and a porn site came up. And it was like a porn video, and it was like right there on the feed, and that survives. And my picture of a man in a bathing suit with balloons is sexually exploitation. It's like, oh my gosh. So they flagged me again. I as of right now, this moment, it is 6:30 Montana time on Monday night. I am still not able to post on my page until tomorrow. Because it was 24 hours. And I have appealed. I actually made a phone call yesterday and got somebody to talk to me, but they still haven't changed it yet. And there's no guarantee that they will. So moral of the story is we're going to change the way we do things. And so the best way for you to find our content, the full content, the watered down stuff will be on Facebook. The meaty stuff and this kind of stuff will be over here. So we'll still be sharing our shows, but not all of them, because Facebook's just a little too sensitive for our material, I think. So last thing I want to leave with you. This has been a real nightmare for me. I mean, just because, I'm proud to serve my clients and my customers, and anytime I can, and we're getting everything on there, but it's just like it makes it harder. And so I haven't been sleeping. That's why I got bags under my eyes. And it's just, so I woke up last night and I was just laying there and feeling like God was just talking to me, And to my mind came the story of Sodom and Gomorrah and Lot and his wife. And so I'm laying there going, oh, this is interesting. So remember, the story is Sodom and Gomorrah was just a horrible place. I mean, just sexual in everything. Everything was just disgusting. And God was going to get rid of it because it was so bad. He was just going to blow it up. And an angel comes and tells Lot and his wife and 2 daughters that they are to leave the town. Just get out because God's going to smite it. And she said, the angel, I call it she, but the angel said, don't look back. Don't turn around and look back. So they get going, they're leaving, and Lot's wife turned around and looked back and turns into a pillar of salt. So it got me thinking, because a lot of us are leaving. Some are states, some are former lives, some are jobs. Some of us are leaving attitudes behind. Some of us are leaving people. Some of us are leaving bad habits. We're readjusting our lives. We're doing things, so we're leaving. And it doesn't mean where we're leaving from is a horrible thing. It just means we're leaving. But I feel like when I was doing that, when I was having this little, kind of vision in my head, that there was two meanings to don't look back. Is one, God said, don't look back. She looked back and she's dead. He meant it. But the other one is, don't look back at what you left. Like if it's a bad habit and you left it, it's gone. If it's a state that you weren't supposed to stay in, whether that's a physical state, a mental state, or a state like Oregon, and I was supposed to leave, then don't look back. And instead, keep your eyes focused on where you're going and what's ahead. If it's Facebook acting like a total bunch of idiots, and I have to move my business and change things after 15 years of building a giant audience and move that audience a different direction, then I'm not going to look back. And so I don't know. I think there's something really prophetic there. Maybe for you it's pathetic, but sometimes for me they're about the same thing. So anyway, think about that. Whether it's some old attitude you have to leave behind, or some I'll tell you what, Kathy and I have never looked back and said, I wish we wouldn't have done this. We're so happy we did this. Is it hard? Yeah, it's really hard. Do you get lonely? Sure you do. Do you have moments you wonder, what are you doing here? Yeah. Yeah, you do. But never do I look back and say, this wasn't the right move. I know that this is the journey and this is the one we're on. And we're going to see where this leads us. And I hope that you're following, and I hope that you're doing your journey the way you're supposed to as well. Now, one last plug. We couldn't do any of this without our sponsors, Chris Dental Family Dentistry out of Eugene, where everyone is welcome. They do dentures, crowns, regular hygiene, filling cavities, all the things that a dentist does. But they also give you the freedom to believe what you want to believe. No agenda, just whatever you believe. And then we want to thank our we're into dentists and oral surgeons, Montana Oral Surgery and Dental Implant Center, where they do wisdom teeth, bone grafting, facial trauma. When you need, any kind of oral surgery done, that's what they do. They have 3 clinics, one in Helena, Great Falls, and Bozeman, one of our new clients, and we're really excited to have them on as one of our sponsors. And then we also have Greg Hinkle with Fairway Independent Mortgage Company, trying to help you, really just with your finances, by purchasing homes, whatever it is you need for mortgages, the financial needs. That's what Greg is here. And he's in Helena, but he's from Oregon, Roseburg. He's a Roseburg boy, living here in Helena now. But he can do loans out of Oregon, or mortgage out of Oregon, Washington, and Montana. And we'll be talking about this in the future. There's some people you need both when you come in from Oregon to Montana. We'll have Greg explain that to us sometime, how that works. So we can't do this without our sponsors. So if you are in the area, if you're part of our Montana audience, and you support our sponsors, because that helps us and that helps them, and it helps you. If you're back in Oregon and you're looking for a dentist, Dr. Bratland is your man. All right, so tomorrow, Valentine's Day, I've got a show already taped up with BS Free MD. Also, when you're on our website, we always give you the shows that are coming up this week, so you'll have a schedule, so you'll know what's coming up. But tomorrow we're going to talk about poo. An expert. She's a doctor, and they're doing research on how you can transplant poo and make people solve some problems for them, some medical issues for them. I'm not kidding. It's one of the most interesting things. So what we do is Doctors Tim and May, they run BS Free MD is their podcast. So what we're going to do is, they did a podcast on this with me asking questions for about 30 minutes. And then I'm going to air that part. And then you go over and watch their podcast on Spotify or any of your favorites, and you can watch the whole thing. And so you'll get the tail end because they get in more in depth and that kind of thing. In depth into your poop. Just what you want, huh? No, trust me. This is super interesting. And I thought with Valentine's Day, this would be the perfect day to get on there because everything's roses and smelly, beautiful things and chocolate. And I think we should just add poo to the list. So it'll be our show tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, remember that a week or so ago, we had someone on and talking about nationals, giving up your status in this country to become a national. Well, there's some people that see it a little bit differently. So we're going to bring them on. They're talking about what's called the State General Jural Assembly. And this is a little different. You don't give up as much. But anyway, I want to get both sides out there. Or that's not even a side. It's just another option. And then on Thursday, Bait and Tackle Rob will be here to get us in trouble. That show will probably never air on Facebook. And also Bill London with all your news and everything coming up. All right, have a good night. I'm going to go home. Share this on your page, please. That's super important. It helps me a lot because with Facebook being a pain in the ass, it really helps us with getting this message out to people, and they need to hear it. All right, have a good night. See you guys later. Thanks for joining us. Remember, go subscribe to YouTube and rickdancer.com. YouTube is Rick Dancer TV. Nothing else, no numbers, just Rick Dancer TV. All right, see ya. Bye.